What's up, everybody? We are reviewing the Marin San Quentin 329 here in Bentonville. Woo! What's up, Hardtail fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're reviewing the Marin San Quentin 3. I think this is going to be a popular bike for a lot of people. Quite affordable. MSRP is $18.99. Got great spec and great geo. Let's go see how she rides. Got some nice stuff. We've got Dior 12-speed Marzocchi Bomber Z2, aluminum frame, nice feeling cockpit, TRP brakes. Really nice build spec for the price. I like the steep seat angle. It brings you forward in the cockpit. I don't feel stretched out. I don't want to be stretched out on my climbs. I want to be upright, relaxed, able to reach my bars without my arms being out. So I like a steep seat angle and a short cockpit when climbing, but then when I stand up, I like it to be roomier and more stable. If you want to learn what all these geometry terms mean and how they affect how a bike rides, go check out my course. I've got an online course with over 130 video lessons talking about geometry and bike design. I cannot stress the difference between bikes from 5 years ago and bikes from today. World of a difference. This has a 140 mil fork on it, and it's a Marzocchi Bomber Z2, and it feels great. 140 is right where a lot of people like their hardtail forks, especially more aggressive enduro stuff. I'm glad they didn't go longer, and I think a lot of other people will be glad they didn't go shorter. We're here at Thunderdome, a little dual slalom flow track, racetrack. Let's see how she does. Oh man, that jumps well. Wow. You never know what's marketing when they say they took their dirt jumper DNA, but man, this one feels like it. I always struggled to click with the 27.5 San Quentins, which is weird because I like 27.5 bikes. Oh man, so easy to manual, especially between rollers. I'm almost looping out. I need a little extra. It's got a slightly higher BB than a lot of other aggressive enduro hardtails, and the taller BB makes it easier to get that front wheel off the ground and play. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay, that was fun. Let's go hit another flow trail. All right, this climb will be reminiscent of a lot of fire road climbs. Nothing technical, just kind of get into gear and grind up the gravel road. It'll attack the climbs, like you can push it and it does really well, but you can also just sit back and chill and enjoy it. I am feeling the slacker front end wandering at the moment. Got a 64-degree head angle. That's pretty slack. We'll see if it feels too slack on the XC-ish stuff. If you're a hardtail fan watching this, please subscribe. My goal is to hit 100,000 subscribers by 2026. We're getting close, but a lot of people watching this aren't subscribed. So if you like hardtail stuff, you are in the right place. Please subscribe and help this channel out. That helps me get more bikes in for review, and it helps other companies see me and want to send more stuff my way for featuring on the video. So thank you in advance for helping me out. My bike reviews are completely independent. Nobody's paying me for them. Man, Marin nailed it on the spec of this bike. What would I change spec-wise? Man, I even like the grips. Like, that's pretty rare. Marin's house brand grips, they've just really stepped it up the last couple years. I actually like their in-house stem and bar. They don't feel overbuilt and overly stiff. Wheels feel fine. Hub's low engagement. I wish every OEM hub had a drop-in high engagement upgrade, but Ibis seems to be the only one doing that. Still, nothing stands out as like cheap or poor quality. This thing comes with Asagai's front and rear. That tells you it means business. This is an enduro hardcore hardtail, but it happens to play surprisingly well. Really, really impressed how easy it is to get it on that back wheel. I love the graphics. I think it's understated. I think it looks great. I love the smaller tubing. They did the same thing on their Team Marin 2, and that is another Marin that I absolutely love that hangs with bikes double its price. Not overbuilding all this area keeps the rear end from being super, super stiff. Good bike design doesn't cost more to produce, it just takes more time to design it right. and very few companies are putting the time and effort into designing hardtails to be special and get every little detail just right. Another thing I really like, the dropper is full internal. They've done similar to what I've done on my signature bikes, where the dropper can go in through there without having to exit down here and then re-enter. So they shifted the seat tube forward just a little. It still hits the BB, but they've got an opening there for this to go through. Well done, Marin. I like the totally straight seat tube, so you can run a dropper post that goes all the way to the bottom. Sure, it'd be great if there was a second water bottle boss here and this was shifted up a little, but I think for most people that are going to be riding enduro on this, they're probably not going to need 2 water bottle mounts. There's also some adapters you can get to run 2 side by side. Wolftooth makes some cool things to fit 2 bottles on a single post. Just looks really clean. Marin's hardtail frames come in the down tube up here, and then they all pop out down here down a little slit. I'm not crazy about that. This is awfully close to the chainring. In fact, it's touching. And then the brake is external in the rear and derailleur's external in the rear. If you're gonna do internal, that's the way to do it. It's real easy. You fish it in, pops out down here, then it's full external. Really tidy cockpit. This bike came in at 32 pounds with pedals, which is really impressive, especially for the price. And they've got name brand tires. I just think they've done a really, really nice job speccing this and designing the geometry and the tube selection and all that. Really nice job with a lot of little things that other people don't think about or that are easy to overlook, especially when you're buying online or you go to the shop and you're excited to see it, and then 2 weeks later you're like, oh, how come I did this or how come I did that? Lots of thoughtful design here. All right, let's go hit some more flow. A little bit soft in places, I gotta be careful. Man, so easy to manual. I need to get used to it. It's so easy that it pops up easier than I expect. It jumps so well too. My goodness. Really easy to control though. That is so funny. You wouldn't think a 10 millimeter taller bottom bracket would make a noticeable difference. It sure does. Oh, this thing is fun. Really fun. Marin was one of the first bikes in the US to come out with a mass-produced hardcore hardtail. And it was a San Quentin. Really cool to see how far the design's come since then. All right, that's flow. We know this is great on flow. Let's go take it on some trail stuff. A little bit chunky climbs up ahead. Stuff you'd find on a normal trail. Pretty rocky section with a couple technical climbs. Marin does a nice job of not overbuilding their aluminum frames. They've understood how to keep the seat stays small. Not all aluminum frames are harsh, and Marin's frames feel better than a lot of steel frames, which is awesome because they're cheaper, they don't rust, they're lighter out of aluminum, and if you can design them right, they will totally hang with a steel frame. This bike rewards a modern riding style. A lot of people getting back into modern bikes from riding in the 90s and 2000s are getting on modern bikes and feeling like, well, those are way too big, I need to size down. That feels so stretched out, feels like a limo. Well, current mountain bikes are meant to be ridden differently than we rode in the 90s and 2000s. I got a cool video on that topic you'll want to check out. This bike is easy to control. A lot of short chainstay bikes get a little sketchy at speed. I'll be interested to see if this does get sketchy at speed or if that 64-degree head angle calms it down like we hope it does. Okay, here we've got one of the hardest climbs around. I've only cleaned it on my e-bike so far. It's about a 45-degree angle, about 15, 20 feet elevation with just big rock holes in the middle. And what happens is you get stuck and it's really hard to keep your momentum through there on a hardtail. On a full suspension, you can kind of just plow and that rear wheel will track it. On a hardtail, you kind of have to think about whether you're about to drop into a hole or slam into a rock or lose your momentum. Here we go. I don't know what to expect. I don't really know which line I want to take. So you got to be in the right gear and not have your seat all the way up. Oh my goodness. I just had a little wheel spin and my gears slipped. They popped. You probably heard that. Oh, this is doable. Totally doable. All right. The pop on that gear change kind of threw me off. Oh, we got this. Wow, Marin. I'm really impressed. All right, let's give this a go. I'm gonna push through even if I hear it pop, because I feel like I'm close. Oh my goodness, we got it. Whoa, well done, Marin, my goodness. This bike reminds me a lot of my signature Binary Maniac, the way it climbs. Really good on technical climbs. If you ride in really, really flat terrain without much elevation, I don't think a slack enduro bike like this is the bike for you. So I strongly recommend picking the right bike for your terrain. And if you're getting confused on that or you need advice, I have a bike consultation service over on Patreon, link in the description below. We'll work one-on-one so I can share an impartial opinion on which bike would be ideal. And I've ridden in 26 states, so I've ridden all kinds of terrain. I'd love to help you over there. Really not a harsh ride. Surprisingly good climber on blue/black technical trails. This would be a blast in Sedona. Got some ice in here. Yeah, well done, easy to handle and do emergency surprise moves on. Man, I think the Geo's good enough on this that you could throw a +2 degree angle set in it and get a nice mellower trail bike. So there are a couple other bikes in this genre. Norco Torrent S, the steel one. It feels a little bit heavier than this, a little bit more muted, more supple, more punk rock, more just core. This feels a little more versatile. How about the Rocky Mountain Growler? Growler feels slacker. Growler feels a lot more planted at speed, way less playful. It kind of feels like a lot to handle at slower speeds or mellower terrain. The Growler really wants to go fast to wake up. And the longer rear end of that Growler makes it harder to like maneuver around switchbacks or slow speed techie moves. But if all you're doing is letting off the brakes and sending it super fast, Growler can be a good option for you if the trail's steep enough. One spec I would like to change is it comes with 170 cranks, which is a step in the right direction. Marin's used to come with 175s. But when you go searching for cranks, there's a reason all the 160 and 165 cranks are sold out. That's what people want right now. One of my partners, 5Dev, has a discount code for all you guys. If you want 5Dev cranks, they go from 135 all the way up to 70 in increments of 5. So you can really experiment with crank length. It's not a zippy trail bike. It wants a little bit of speed and a little bit of steep to kind of wake up. But I think if you put a faster rolling tire on the front and back, steepen the head angle just a little, this thing would be fantastic for a lot of blue trails. I like this so much more than the Elroy. I could not get along with the Elroy, but a lot of people love them. So if you're an Elroy fan, more power to you, but I would take this every time over the Elroy. This bike is really surprising me. What's impressive is how affordable the lower end ones are as well, but I do think it's worth saving up for the San Quentin 29.3. It's just got that better fork that you're gonna end up paying a couple hundred more for anyway if you upgrade one of the lower end ones. So why not just get all the upgrades at once? Yeah, I could ride this for 2 years without swapping out a part and be fine. Now, I don't test longevity of parts, except for my own personal bikes. I'm riding a different bike every week for review. So I can't tell you if these wheels are gonna last you 2 years, unfortunately, but I can tell you that on the first ride, they feel just fine. All right, let's head over to some more enduro, fast, high-speed, chunky terrain, which is what a lot of people will buy an enduro bike for. Here we go. Let's hope there's no peanut butter mud sections. Still learning how Arkansas mud rides. We've had snow for a while. It's all melting now. This thing does like to jump. Man, really handles really well. Man, that's impressive. Last minute little wheelies through stuff that you weren't expecting are pretty easy. Yeah, haven't hit that one before. Nice pop on that. Pretty slippery right there. A little slippery to go full speed here, right here. Really quiet bike. They've nailed it on this aluminum frame. It's almost as smooth as the Banshee Paradox, which is a huge compliment. That's another super special aluminum frame. It's surprising how planted this is at speed. Even though it's got a high-ish bottom bracket and a shortish chainstay, it doesn't feel squirrely. Some really short chainstays, 415, 420s, feel squirrely at speed. You kind of just feels like you're standing on top of the rear axle. You get more vibrations that way. Not this. It just feels intuitive. It goes where I want it to go. I'm not fighting it at all. Surprisingly rideable for a 64-degree head angle bike. I don't usually like super short stems like this either, but on this bike it works. Bravo design team at Marin. You knocked it out of the park with this. I thought the 27.5 would ride a lot like this, but it doesn't for some reason. This feels like a totally different bike, and I like everything about it over the San Quentin 27.5. Here we're on a paved return climb. The bike doesn't feel heavy. The tires feel a little draggy, but the bike doesn't feel heavy. Get a little bit of noise with the short stays with that chain line. That's to be expected. A lot of people think I only like high-end bikes. I don't. There are just very few low-end bikes that are designed right and don't cut a whole bunch of corners. But Marin's done it with their Team Marin 2 for XC and light trail, and this San Quentin 29.3. What a bike. Spending 2 or 3 times as much will only get you maybe 10% more performance. And that's where most people are. They don't need the most bleeding edge, latest everything. They need a bike that's in the budget that does everything pretty well. And that's where this thing is. So impressive. Let's go check out some slower speed tech on Copperhead Road. Black Diamond chunk. Ooh, slippery. This is where I love having a big dropper. And this dropper gets out of the way. They've done a nice job keeping the seat tube short. This thing is so easy to move around. A lot of people in my bike consultation service tell me, I want a flickable bike. I don't really know what that means, but if I had to guess, I would think this would fit that criteria where you can just like move your body around independently from the bike and change direction real quick. It's not flickable in the sense that a XC trail bike is, where it's really responsive and you can thread the needle, but you can hop around on it, do trialsy stuff, put the frame where you want it really easily. Really good bike body separation on this thing. Man, it's just picking apart this tech. I love it. I really like tech like this on a hardtail. I feel like you can control where your bike is. You feel where your wheels are. There's nothing vague, a little more raw. I also like that this isn't a fake rock trail where they just dump a ton of rocks in it for the sake of a ton of rocks. Okay, this is a new trail I think called Waterfall. Well, new to me. I'm gonna hike up here just a little bit. I think that'd tell us a good bit how this thing does in chunky, enduro-y black diamond slash Maybe double black, we'll see. It's loose, it's wet, it's slippery. We got roots. Hope I'm not getting myself into trouble and punching above my weight class here. I'm actually glad I found this. I've been having a hard time finding really steep terrain. I love steep terrain. I just love going slow on it, not fast. So I just slowed my rebound down a couple clicks. When I'm riding enduro stuff, I want it a muted tracking front end, not a poppy front end. When I'm on the flow trails and the dual slalom, I like a little faster rebound, a little more pop and play. This, I want the front glued. Let's see what happens. This is all a new trail to me. This bike is really fun though. Ooh, we got ice on this trail. A little dab there. Yeah, that's nice and steep. I dig it. I'm not surprised that it does so well in double black diamond tech. Where I am surprised, man, is how good it is on blues. Very few 64-degree head angle bikes are good on blue trails, intermediate trails. All right, now we need to see how she wheelies. Yep, nice and balanced. So who's this bike for? This bike is for so many people. It's amazing how versatile a good hardtail is. This is definitely leaning on the aggressive, more enduro, fast side of things than a trail bike. But like I said, if you put a +2 degree angle set, bring that head angle to 66, and then maybe run a 134, you get that lower BB, quicker, more precise steering. This would be a heck of a trail bike for flatter stuff. But it's just so awesome to see how versatile a good hardtail is. A lot of times in my reviews, I point out what a bike's great at and what a bike's not great at. You can ride these bikes anywhere, but each bike has a personality where it really comes alive on certain trails. This thing loves to play. It's fun to wheelie, fun to pick your way through technical stuff, and it's surprisingly planted at fast speeds as well. I don't know of another bike that brings this much value and quality of ride and control and playfulness at this price, even close. Nothing comes close at this price. They've done an incredible job with this bike. And every now and then I find these on sale, and I'll put a link in the video description so you can get a discount on these. When you use that link, it helps support my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. In fact, it saves you money. So I appreciate it when you use those links. Anytime you're buying at any of those stores, use my links, it'll help. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to hit that 100,000 subscribers this year. I really appreciate your help doing that. It doesn't cost you any money. Just click the button. I've had such a blast riding this bike. This was the biggest surprise in a long time with how fantastic this bike is. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys are awesome. Love your support. If you need bike consultation, head over to Patreon. If you want to check out my in-depth, deep dive geometry bike design course, got a link to that in the description as well. You guys are amazing. Thanks for watching. Have fun on your hardtails. There's a party in the mountains and you're invited.